Good afternoon and welcome to soaked Petone Rec here for round 8 action of the Swindale Shield for 2023. It's the home side Petone, 5th on the table, taking on Avalon, who are 13th on the table. Avalon, though, a vast improvement side on previous years. One win this season against the Wellington Axemen and a narrow loss against Norths in the second round. So both sides today playing for the Morgan Family Trophy, established in the 1980s, and someone who's probably played a few games against Avalon over the years is regular co-commentator Murray Blanford. Great to have you back on the broadcast, Murray.
Oh, pleasure to be here, thanks, Brad. Very early on when they first amalgamated, 1980 I think it was. I think I played against Nine Eye in 79, I think they amalgamated in 80, so probably a dozen times maybe against them.
And of course, the last few years, it's mostly favoured Petone, but the last time Avalon bet Petone was in 2016, and it was here at this very ground, 8-6 Murray, a very low-scoring affair. That was the last time Avalon bet Petone.
Yep, I was here that day, and they certainly deserved their win. They were gritty on defence. I can't remember their open side flanker, but he was a revelation, little guy.
Logan Blake.
Logan Blake,
yes.
Yeah, had an outstanding performance that day.
So Petone coming off a 1-point loss last week. Seems to be a habit this year. Murray, 1-point losses. Last year they won all the 1-point games. But losing to Upper Hutt last week, 40 points to 39, which was a wild game. Played in the opposite weather conditions we have here today at the Petone Rec. So let's look at the two sides this afternoon. Let's start with the home side, Petone. Fullback is TJ Clark. The wings are Stanley Solomon and Lossie Filippo. Midfield is Taylor Henry and Riley Higgins. First 5 and captain Khan Green. Halfback is Logan Henry. 8 is Filippo Sapaya. 7 is Mason Henry. 6 is Teddy Hearn. The locks are Jack Ross and Sam Tornisi. In the front row, Ben Kershaw, Luke Flett and Jordan Sidlui. For the Avalon Wolves, Ezra Sione is the fullback. The wings are Seti Timu and Nathan Fa'apusi in 11. The midfield and captain is Jordan Aquila wearing jersey 20. The 13 is Gary Tui Lekuti. First 5 is Toby Oliver. Halfback is Victor Misa. 8 is Phil Green, 7 is Fa'alolo Wright, 6 is Laman Wong, 5 is Naila Misa and Tahao Ta'ape. In the front row is Pat Royal, Jacob Faifai and Pablo Ferreira. Those are the two teams contesting for the Morgan Family Trophy. Petone have 3 home games in a row now. This is the first of them. Next week they play against Wainui Amata and then Wellington before the big show at the Hutt Rec, the McBain Shield. It's not that far away, Murray, the McBain Shield. But Petone, 3 home games where they need to get maximum points from.
They certainly do. They've lost those 2 1-pointers or 2-pointers, and that's going to cost them as it comes down to the sticky end of the Swindale Shield. Hutt Old Boys Marist, of course, after a dreadful start, have been pretty amazing in the last couple of weeks. I think they're just building nicely for the McBain Shield in 4 weeks' time.
Well, building nicely in particular, but they've still got a heavy injury toll. It was good last week to see Yona Apaneru make his long-awaited appearance for Upper Hutt, for Petone against Upper Hutt last week after he got injured in the Jubilee Cup final last year. Here comes Petone, led out by Khan Green, and there's a special fact in today's game is that all 3 Henry brothers are playing in the starting 15. Taylor at second 5, Logan Henry, the halfback, and Mason Henry at 7. So quite a unique honour for the Henry family, Murray.
And there's a very proud dad there filming them as they came out, which is just lovely.
Well, as they say, you don't want to be sheep amongst wolves. And here comes the Wolves onto Petone Rec, walking out slowly. And they've been led out by Jordan Aquila, their captain. Made his debut for the Avalon Wolves 2014 against Johnsonville. This is his 115th game for the Avalon Wolves, based out at Fraser Park, and their it's relatively new, but it's been open for about 5 years now, the Rico Sports Centre. But they have their second season on that new number 1, which we were just talking about before. Petone Rec is long overdue for a refit, Murray. It needs
whatever's happened to all the other grounds, including Fraser Park number 1, the grass track.
Well, our officials for today, our referee is Jack Sargentina, refereeing his 53rd Premier game. He knows something well and truly about falling over in mud. Thank God he's wearing black shorts this afternoon. And his assistants are Danny Cameron, who's absolutely covered in mud from doing the curtain raiser game. And the other assistant referee is Mike Fraser, former New Zealand referee, test referee, retired from the New Zealand squad last year. Looks after the New Zealand referees in Super Rugby, but this is the second weekend in a row he's run touch for a Premier game, so it's good to see him still active, Mike Fraser.
Fantastic.
So Jack Sargentina surveys and gets the match underway. And it'll be the Avalon Wolves kicking to the northerly direction. Well taken by Jack Ross at the kickoff. And he'll be brought down 15 metres away from halfway. And Petone, nice clean white jerseys, but in roughly 4 minutes' time, it's going to be a bit of a different story. Logan Henry's box kick went astray. The ball was a juggling act, a bit like AFL at the moment, being kept in possession by the Avalon Wolves. And so they are on attack, metre outside the 22. Wright goes into contact, wrestled, slammed to ground by Teddy Hearn, product of St Patrick's College Silverstream. Slow grind up here. Petone being tested on their defence early on. They were scored against very quickly last week at Maidstone Park in the first minute. Stray bounced the ball in front of Khan Green and they latched onto that upper hut, scoring the first try very quickly. At the moment, Avalon Wolves in possession. Mason Henry securing the tackle. An advantage has been signalled and it's going to be knock on and probably first of many this afternoon, Murray, because the conditions are not flash.
No, very, very muddy out there. Very slight southerly wind, which didn't help that box kick. I'm just hoping this week the Petone play a lot more direct rugby. I thought they were far too lateral last week against Upper Hutt, and they had very poor discipline as well. Things that they didn't really exhibit in the first few games of the season. So let's see if they've rectified it this week.
First scrum of the afternoon. This is pretty much weather you expect in probably June, July. But unfortunately, we've had so much rain in New Zealand this year. And the rain today in the capital city has been pretty heavy. And I think we're going to see a lot of these scrums just end up being play on. Khan Green decides to kick it over here. Stanley Solomon. There's a try-scoring machine as Stanley Solomon. He's got Riley Higgins support. He won't need him. He's going to go over and score the first try of this match. He scored 4 against Ottawa 2 weeks ago, 1 against Upper Hutt last week. And he's gone over to score his 9th try of the season in only his 6th Petone game.
Well, that was actually very good hands from Khan Green at first 5 then. It was dropping. He probably picked it up just below his knees, put in the kick, and it was, I thought, going to go to land, make it a good kick. But I forgot the pace of Stanley. And he picked it up and didn't have too much difficulty getting around his fullback.
Well, last week he scored a spectacular try, Stanley Solomon, in the corner at Maidstone Park. Unfortunately, our cameraman couldn't see him score in the corner because the 2 water carriers and Tom Carter and Josh Salville got in the way.
Just lost my piece of paper, sorry. Thanks, Gaz.
Well, we've finally got some wind blowing across the ground here at the moment. Khan Green's kick curves like a banana and sails straight down the middle. And so the score now is 7-0 after 3 minutes. And that's a bit of creative kicking there from Khan Green, because mainly he's just...
Beautiful kick. Allowed for that wind perfectly. Had a nice curve on it, and it went over where you want it to go over.
Round 8 of the Swindale Shield. We're bringing all the Petone home games this season. Of course, we've got 2 more after this one. Wainoia Mata in Wellington. And also... We've heard it here first here, Murray. We're going to be covering the McBain Shield as well.
Oh, fantastic.
So, excellent work there. Murray's upset about there. Might be joining the commentary box again. Oh. Here we go, the restart. And it's been well taken by Sam Tunisi. Brought down 13 metres away from halfway centre field. Petone get the forwards around, swarming around like a pack. Logan Henry goes for the box kick again. I think we're going to see this a lot. This is a tactic they employed against Tawa 2 weeks ago. And it worked very well. They targeted particularly the back three of Tawa. And they managed to exploit them big time there. Advantage being played here. It's a high tackle against Avalon. Jack Ross passes out to Henry. The kick through from Filippo. Picked up by Sione, but referee Sargent has put an end to the advantage and will come back for the penalty. And I think... Murray, at the moment, we've had a curtain raiser on here before. The Petone Reserves had a big win against the Avalon Wolves, but they've only sort of made a small dent into this field, and it's only going to get worse as the game goes on.
It certainly is around those 10-metre marks in particular on both ends of the field.
Well, Petone here have indicated for a scrum. Interesting decision here, Murray. Maybe they're not backing their line out in these weather conditions.
Well, also it is right as it is in the middle of the field. There is a little bit of a light southerly, so if they did kick for touch, you're probably only going to make maybe 10 metres, 15 metres, and better to have a scrum in the middle of the field. You can go. You've got options both ways, particularly with Petone's outside players, outside backs, if they get a bit of room.
So Logan Henry, part of the Hurricanes' wider squad in particular. The ball has been knocked backwards there by Filippo Sapaya, who hasn't played at number 8 at all this season until today. Last week he was playing at lock and also 6 for part of the season. So he's at the back with no Peter Larkite, because he's pretty much been summoned up to under-20s duties, because they're about to name the final squad to go to South Africa very soon for the World Under-20s Championship, which of course hasn't happened for a few years. So we'll be able to see Peter Larkite playing for New Zealand again, 2nd year in a row.
He should make that side, and he'll be a big loss for Petone, but he'll learn a heck of a lot through that experience, so it'll be good for him.
We'll bring you score updates as well during this match of other Swindale Shield matches. There are some interesting games on here. Here goes Quilla, bounces off Henry. He's knocked the ball on into contact and secured by TJ Clark. Petone with the ball, 6 out from the 22, but Jack Sargentina has brought an end to proceedings, and there's knock on against Avalon, and another scrum here for Petone.
There's a bit of an upset in the Prem Reserve grade today, with the Hutt Old Boys Marist Poniki game expected to be quite close, but on a Poniki Old Timers Day out there, they beat Hutt Old Boys Marist 38-0, which leaves, I think Tawa ended up winning, so they'll stay on top by a couple of points behind Poniki. Well, Poniki and Petone will be 2 points back, equal.
I think Tawa are very close to breaking that record in the Prem Reserve. They must have broken it now, because I think they were very close. I think it was 40 or 41 games in a row. That was Marist St. Pat's a few years ago. I think they might have broken it today in the Premier Reserve grade. Good feed from Henry. It's secured better at the back this time. Khan Green kicks it across the field. Chasing after is Filippo. It bounces. He pushes the Avalon player out of the way, and that will be a penalty. You can't do that, as referee Sargentina has indicated. You can't do that at all, so a bit of a cheeky play there from Lossie Filippo.
I don't think he realised. He didn't actually have to do it, because the Avalon player had no idea. The one he pushed had no idea where the ball was.
Well, also, it's a good day as well for the Petone Club, Murray, particularly the topsy-turvy wildness of the women's first round. Petone finishing top of the table, but with Marist St. Pat's.
I think very good for women's rugby, full stop. I'm not sure how many years it's either been Norths or Oriental Rongotai that have won every round of the women's competition. But with MSP convincingly beating Norths at Norths today, and getting the bonus point for 4 tries or more, and Petone, beating Parramatta Plimerton, also getting a bonus point, it meant they were equal on the table, which means they share the trophy. So congratulations to both sides.
Avalon secure the line out, and they advance it into the 22. Roughly 15 metres away from the northern try line as they look to secure it right in support. Avalon this year coached by Thomas Chiara, who brought us with 100 games for Avalon last year, assisted by Graham Purvis and Philippe Royasi. There's the coaching lineup for the Avalon Wolves 2023. Advantage being played here against Petone. Offside is the call. Slow coming is the ball. Avalon look to just keep it close, keep it in the forwards, and try and work their way up, as this game in particular will be dictated by the forwards as the weather conditions continue to deteriorate here in the capital city. A high pass over the top of Toby Oliver managed to be secured. But we're coming back to where the offside penalty was. This is pretty much directly in front of the posts, and one may think Avalon might just take the free here, Murray.
Oh, they should. Yep, looks like that's happening.
So shot at goal has been indicated. Of course, the goal kicker for Avalon is Timu. Made his debut for Avalon in 2017 against Wainui-a-Mata. Actually previously played for Huddle Boys Marist in 2013. He played 9 games for the Eagles. And this season he seems to be their go-to for the kicking department. 38 points in 2023, 12th overall on the table. In his career to date, he's had 88 points from tries, so 11 tries altogether for Timu, try-scoring machine, as his penalty attempt is successful, and the score now is 7 points to 3. And while Murray Blanford just gets himself ready, he'll give us some score updates from the opening 10 minutes of Swindale Shield in round 8 for 2023. And over to you, Murray, once the app loads.
Yep, my pleasure. So, according to these results, I've got the Prem Reserve ones. We don't want those at this stage. There's virtually nothing there, I hate to say it. This is, yeah, no, I'll scroll down there. No, reserve grade, sorry. Kick-off, you better go back to the
Oh, that's all
commentary.
right. We'll come back to Murray and the scores later on as the restart is taken by Avalon inside their 22 centre field. As they look for options, Misa passes it out and they decide to keep it tight. This is a good run here by Avalon as they advance over the 22. Misa again into the safe hands of Wright, playing his 54th game for the Avalon Wolves this afternoon. And Petone having to put in the hard yakka on defence so far. Change of direction as the kick comes through, and TJ Clark, whose one side of his body is covered in mud and the other side is still relatively clean, watches the ball go into touch, and it will be a Petone line out. 5 metres inside their own half, directly in front of the grandstand touchline. And Murray now has the app open, so let's have a look at some of the scores from round 8.
So, an early lead to North, 7-0 against OBU. 3-0 Marist and Pats lead Auries. Wainui lead Parramatta Plimpton 7-0. And it's 0-0 in the Huddle Boys Marist Poniki game. And Up Hut Rams are beating Tawa at the moment 5-0.
So Petone losing the ball at the line out in Avalon, enjoying some possession here. They'll be enjoying this time with the ball, pinching off the Petone mistakes. But that time there, they have knocked the ball on at the back of the ruck. And so it's going to be a Petone scrum here, roughly 7 metres outside their 22 centre field, as the rain continues to bucket down here at the Petone Rec. It was actually, we were talking about this only an hour ago, Murray, about 2 years ago when Petone played here and the Petone Rec was a lake.
It was, yep, no, it certainly was, and it can get that way. Because we've had so much rain, though, it's going into the ground generally. Just one little bit of a lake over the far side, which they haven't played into in this game yet. Avalon so far have been very structured in their play, which has impressed me, and they'll need to stay that way if they're going to keep Petone honest.
We're having just spoken to their chairman, Troy O'Kane, during the season. They said that they came very close in round 2 against Norths at Ascot Park, played on a Thursday night before Good Friday. They just let one late try from Norths go in. It could have been a W for the Avalon Wolves, so they've shown that they are vastly improved outfit this year, are the Wolves. They managed to secure the ball from the Petone kick, roughly 15 metres outside their 22. Misa at the back surveys, looks for options, decides to kick it himself. It will go straight down the throat of Khan Green, who's better at probably using his feet than catching the ball in these weather conditions. He decides to have a run. He kicks it downfield because no one's home there. Has he got enough gas? This is Khan Green putting on the afterburners, but unfortunately his foot has found the touchline. And much to the crowd try, wasn't, as he put a foot on the line. And so it's going to be an Avalon Wolves line out, roughly 8 metres inside their own 22.
I thought he looked a bit like Stanley Solomon there, the speed he was showing. Just must have gone into touch, and it would have been very close to whether he got the hand on the ball over the line. But fantastic kick, well weighted, and perfect position.
Not bad in your 119th game, showing all that pace. Product of Wellington College was Khan Green. Avalon decided to go for the line out at the front. And there's a few roly-polies there, but referee has said play on. And Avalon securing the ball as this rain continues to bucket down from the southern end of Petone Rec. They decide to stretch out. Aquila catches him napping. Stanley Solomon probably need to put on some longer sprints, TJ Clark decides to go for a slide like he's going down a zoom tube. Aquila again kicks this ball directly into touch. And the flag of Mike Fraser comes up, and it's going to be a Petone line out on the Avalon 10-metre mark directly in front of the grandstand. Now, Luke Flett here, he's playing his 66th game for Petone. Of course, he made his debut in 2016, and actually he really hadn't played for about 2 years before the Tawa game two weeks ago. So it's good to see him back out there, helping out in the hooking department, Murray.
Fantastic. Great guy, Luke, and suffered a very serious head injury 2 or 3 years ago, and that's meant he hasn't been able to play.
Petone with the ball, Jordan Salui playing against his old club, Avalon. And Avalon looked to try and steal the ball, but unfortunately an infringement has been found. Not rolling away is the call, but the advantage will play. Khan Green offloads it to Henry, finds his brother Mason, and he's been wrapped up. Riley Higgins managed to put his arms up and flick it back, and he's got the ball in hand now. He's been scragged down by the neck, that time by Pat Royal, but unfortunately, play on is the call from referee Sargentina. No, it's not. We're coming back for the penalty. It's just one of those ones that slid up. And that one came from Mike Fraser. That's good officiating. You expect that from someone who's refereed Test rugby.
You'd hope so. Must be nice for Jack to have someone like that on the touch.
Well, it's he's done 2 Jubilee Cup finals, Jack Sargentina, and this is a big year for him, really, because he's did New Zealand top 4 final last year. He's on the cups of the national squad, so he's got one of the New Zealand referee bosses on the sideline, so obviously a sign that he is possibly on the radar. At the back is Luke Flett, decides to take it himself and takes it into contact, 6 away from the try line. Good run here from Teddy Hearn. They're now 4 away from the line. Avalon pleading for the turnover, and they have got it. Great work over the top of the ball by the Avalon Wolves. And getting the celebrations there appears to be Phil Green, who got over the top there, Murray.
Yep, no, it was a very good throw-in by Luke and taken well by Jack, but I know they want to play it in the forwards perhaps because it's a wet day, but I'd like to see it perhaps go out to the backs a little bit more.
So the kick from Oliver goes into touch, and it will be an Avalon Wolves line out roughly about 8 metres away from halfway, directly in front of our commentary position here. The only thing clean on the field at the moment is the view of the Morgan family trophy on the table.
Yes, that's been around for a long time, and I was with John Morgan actually for some of last Saturday. He was watching his club team Shandon win the Duncan Cup at the Royal Wellington Golf Course, in between watching Petone go down to Upper Hutt. He was a very happy man last week, and hopefully he's here to present the trophy, or if someone from the Morgan family is.
It's a low pass, being managed to be picked up there by Masima, and Avalon keep the ball secure. And their forwards are doing a lot of the dictating of play early in this first half. The score 7-3 in favour of Petone. An early try to Stanley Solomon. But Avalon enjoying plenty of position. The ball being kicked through, but TJ Clark's back there with his almighty big boot. And kicks that back down into the 22 as it's just going to fall short of the try line. And Aquila manages to avoid the charge down of Stanley Solomon. And it's going to be a Petone line out roughly 6 metres inside Avalon's 22 as the flag comes up from Danny Cameron, the ET lookalike of the referees. Good man is Danny Cameron. He had a very good game in the curtain raiser. Danny Cameron did very well. The product of St. Pat's Town. Ball secured by Jack Ross, and Petone go to their work. They're in danger of potentially losing this ball here if they don't get it out in time. But it's still there for Petone. Lossie Filippo receives the ball from Henry. Takes it in contact. An advantage being played here against the Wolves. Henry again finds his brother Mason. He brought down 6 away from the line. Henry darts and goes himself, but he's just going to be scragged down.
Oh, no, he's
still going. He's still going here. Excellent work from Logan Henry. There's not much to him, but he's scragged into those tackles like a rag doll. And battle stations here for the Wolves. Can they keep Petone out? Henry again fires it over to Khan Green, who manages to avoid the ball, and Mason Henry will go over and score his 16th career try.
Give Khan some credit. I think he did let the ball go past. He saw a big Avalon player in front of him, and I think he made the right option. He took the right option.
So 12 points to prove the conversion to come. Excellent work there by Petone, but in particular Logan Henry. They're showing why being part of that Hurricane setup, and he's extremely gutsy. Of course, long before that, he was a regular point scorer for Petone. Was their go-to goal kicker, and made the move up to Manawatu in 2020, and it's really paying trumps for him now, Murray.
It is. He's a fantastic player, and certainly in his appearances for Petone this year, he's done really well, and I think it's good for the competition between him and Cam Ferreira, who's also a fine halfback.
So this is Khan Green taking the conversion attempt. Roughly 4 away from eastern touchline, just about 4 metres outside the 22. It's got plenty of distance, but unfortunately it has drifted away, so the score will remain 12 points to 3 in favour of the home side Petone. Roughly 21 minutes gone in the first half.
Yep, no, that rain just keeps coming down, and it's going to get harder and harder. I think both sides have actually, their kicking game hasn't been too bad, and I think it's not a bad tactic to employ.
Well, it's and particularly in trying conditions, which will only get worse as the match goes on. Aquila gets played back underway. It's bounced awkwardly for Petone, but Logan Henry manages to catch the ball, and Stanley Solomon gives us an almighty boot down the field, and Oliver manages to guide it roughly, passes it on field to Sione, and he's going to have a run. And Sione bounces off 1, bounces off 2, and he manages to offload the ball with a tackle. This is excellent play here from Avalon. Tuile Kutu kicks it through. Chasing back after it is Logan Henry. It's going to bounce inside the in goal, just short of the dead ball line, and Henry does extremely well with about 3 Avalon Wolves players in front of him. He kicks it up downfield, straight into the hands of Jordan Aquila, who says thank you very much as he catches a very easy kick from Logan Henry, but unfortunately he's knocked the ball on into the tackle. And so it's going to be a scrum here for Petone.
That was fantastic counter from Logan. They say sometimes the best place to attack is when you're on defence. Well, he was 8 metres, 10 metres inside his dead ball area, but he easily beat 2 or 3 Avalon players that were there and made it to 22 before he put the kick in. So fantastic rugby.
Well, it's been good so far, Murray. We've had no stoppages in the game.
No.
It's unusual. Of course, Petone, have someone else on the bench in terms of the front row department. Marcus Royal potentially will come back onto the paddock for Petone this afternoon, possibly for his 181st game. He hasn't played for a few seasons, Marcus Royal, but it'll be good to see him back out there. Logan Henry passes the ball back. Here's Filippo. Excellent work as they look to secure it. Done well by Taylor Henry. Khan Green chips it over the top. A slip there that time by Pusa, but he manages to secure the ball. Fends off Solomon. And Avalon have secured the ball well. As these shirts descend to turn to mud, and that time there, Wright couldn't hang on to the ball. It was a good tackle there that time by Teddy Hearn there, Murray, that resulted in the knock-on.
Very good. I'd quite like to see the ball go out to Stanley. He's got the ball once from a kick that he ran 40 metres to score a great individual try, and he hasn't actually received the ball from a pass yet, and we're 23 minutes into the game. I don't think Lossie's got it either from actually a movement.
No, he hasn't yet. And really, the cleanest players in the back line are Khan Green, Riley Higgins and Stanley Solomon. The rest of them have got a fair amount of dirt on them.
Yeah.
So reset scrum here, probably first of many this afternoon. It was interesting having John Herbert, who's one of the coaches of the Colts in the broadcast last week, talking about the front row department. Of course, he previously coached the forwards at St. Pat Silverstream, was in charge of the scrums and gave us a good insight into some of the high-level use of an intellectual language that's used in the front row department, Murray.
I wouldn't know that.
Many great discussion. You hear them all the time as you're a referee. Here we go. Jack Sargentina finally gets the scrum going. And Logan Henry is at a strong opening to this match. 24.5 minutes elapsed in the first half. Here we go. Murray Blanford sort of gets his wishes. Stanley Solomon has been bundled into the Avalon dugout, but the ball's been kicked downfield. And Sione kicks it directly down. Solomon's back onto his feet. Manages to get that ball. Passes it infield to Khan Green. He's got TJ Clark out to his left. He decides to boot it as there's no one home there for the Avalon Wolves. The ball bounces inside the 22. And chasing back after it is Tuile Kutu. The kick comes downfield, straight down back to Khan Green. Centre field with Solomon. Now here he goes. One try to his name this afternoon. He decides to kick it. It bounces awkwardly that time for Ezra Sione. He manages to regather it. Solomon chasing back after it. Higgins there in support. The ball has been kicked off the side of the boot by Avalon, and it will be a Petone line out just about 5 metres outside the 22 on the grandstand touchline. And so definitely a good kicking duel going on here at the Petone Rec Murray. Yeah,
Petone won that one, as it turned out. But to be fair, Avalon cleared it well because that was an awkward one. It was he didn't get it till it was right under his post, 5 metres out. So to be able to clear it out to another Avalon player who actually put in a good kick was good effort.
Secured again by Jack Ross. It is a 118th game. His father, Dion, club legend, player, coach,
life member,
now the manager of the Waikato men's team. With another Petone legend, Ross Filippo, who's coaching the Waikato team. And Avalon do well here. They managed to slow down the Petone more, and they've resulted in a turnover. Excellent work there by the Avalon Wolves.
I don't know what happened there. Jack took it outstandingly and turned, and next minute it was not to come out.
Coach Ryan Piper won't be happy with that, as it's a trademark area of the Petone team, particularly from line-out drives. They were reasonably effective against Tawa and also last week against Upper Hutt when they decided to keep possession of the ball. Different conditions here today, though. So Victor Mesa with the ball in hand. Made his debut against Marist St. Pat's in round 1. This is his 7th game. He's a product of Taita College, and a good turnover at scrum time by Petone as they put the big shunt on. It's an awkward pass in front of Khan Green, but it's been secured by Petone. Riley Higgins looks, tries to offload it to Filippo, but can't do so, and Filippo comes back into the contact. Loose ball again. TJ Clark has to tidy up this area of scrappy play. He's going to be brought down on the 22, roughly 20 in from the eastern touchline. Hearn charges forward. Good charge here by Teddy Hearn. He's putting in a good physical performance this afternoon. But it's been knocked on into contact by Petone, and so Avalon have the ball, and Aquila decides to have a run and kick it downfield. And it goes over the top of TJ Clark into touch. And Avalon push Petone back towards halfway there, Murray.
Yes, no, reasonably good run of play by Petone, but just by coughing it forward there, they lost possession, and the captain was able to clear it for Avalon. And again, a good clearance, back to halfway nearly. Help of that southerly breeze, which I think Petone will enjoy playing with in the second half, but I think also they wouldn't mind getting at least one more try if they can before the half-time.
It's also the first round of first 15 action in Wellington, and early game at 1 o'clock, St. Pat's Silverstream winning against Wairarapa College 46-5. Getting their campaign off to a good start. And of course on Wednesday, you saw that game, Murray. Wellington College against St. Pat's Town, winning 16 points to 14.
Yeah, I felt Wellington College were easily the best side out of the two, but they nearly threw it away. They didn't use that first 15 minutes in the second half when they were really dominant, but they couldn't really score. They came away with a penalty, and that was it. And that was a very lazy penalty. Petone just gave away then.
Well, it's another offside penalty. It's only the second one against Petone. They had plenty last week against them in the Upper Hutt game.
And they didn't learn, so hopefully they learn today.
Kick downfield from the penalty. Will be an Avalon Wolves line out roughly 15 metres away from the northern try line.
I didn't think you were allowed to wear full leggings in rugby.
Well, it's a new bylaw now. They
Is
changed it last year.
Oh,
As I remember
shows how much I know.
I remember, here's an interesting one. Back in 2011, there was a first 15 Sky TV game, St. Petstown, Wellington College at Evans Bay Park. And King Capelli, who now plays for Marist St. Pat's, was the halfback for St. Petstown, and he turned out with skins on. And that week, World Rugby, or IRB at the time, decided that they weren't allowed. And of course, the errant presence of David Walsh came out onto the field and told him to take them off. As Avalon Wolves sniff an opportunity here for a try. They're at the back. Petone having to defend. They're not used to this so far in this match. The Avalon pick and go. And they swerve out of the way. Have they got the ball down? No, they're just short of the line. Petone hanging on grimly here as the Wolves showing. Oh, it was nearly picked up there by Riley Higgins. He got yellow carded last week for a knockdown, but that time there is only an accidental one as advantage has been played.
He nearly got that and would have been away.
He would have been away.
Some great attack play by Avalon, but also some gritty defence too.
So Avalon have to start again, get those pick and goes going as there's the new player jersey in jersey 12. We believe that might actually be Will Bauer, who has come onto the field for Avalon. But we're coming back for the accidental knockdown by Riley Higgins, and it will be an Avalon Wolves scrum. In particular, they'll be looking to try and have a better scrum here, Murray, Avalon, because the last scrum they got demolished by Petone.
They certainly did. Petone are now sort of hard up on defence after just giving away a silly penalty, unnecessary penalty. And as I say, they should have learnt that from last week.
So very lucky to escape there that time, Petone. They'll be lucky to have the services of Riley Higgins. He seems to not be able to crack into the starting 23 for the Hurricanes. Well, there's plenty of midfield talent. At the back they go, Phil Green off the back of the scrum. And Petone bring him down roughly about 12 metres away from the northern try line. Avalon go for the pick and go again as they roll. Slow coming here as the jersey numbers become hard to see, and it's a good penalty here for Petone. There's an Avalon Wolves player came driving off his feet there, Murray.
He sealed it off. He went with the player and just completely sealed it off. Bit hard to see the numbers now, Brad.
Well, yeah, they're just bringing out the binoculars now because it's getting quite difficult to see the back of the jerseys, particularly these.
Avalon.
Particularly Avalon. It's I know the numbers are white, but it's just the colours that are blending in. It makes it a bit harder. And also trying to get the binoculars set up well too. Here we go. Petone line out. 6 away from halfway. Secured well at the back. It juggles in front of Teddy Hurd, and having to tidy up after that is Filippo Sapai, and it's been turned over by the Avalon Wolves. Enjoying a lot of wealth of possession with a relatively small wind behind them. Tony bring them back. Here goes Ezra Sione, kicks it through. And TJ Clark's there. Kicks it into that stiff wind that has now just picked up in pace from that southerly end, and this rain has just picked up in its intensity.
Sione came and went the short side very, very well there and put that kick through.
So with roughly about 7 minutes left in the first half, Petone ahead 12 points to 3. Avalon will be hoping to score a try. They would deserve one with the way they're playing, Murray, in these conditions.
They're playing outstandingly well.
Jacob Fifi throws. It's a short option again. That's the second time they've done that, and they've landed directly where that puddle of water is. 5 metres out from the 22, eastern touchline. Ball comes out to Phil Green. Wrestles forward towards the 22. Petone looking to try and hold him up and turn this ball over, but the ball has gone down onto the ground. And Bisa reaching in out to Fifi, who goes straight into the tackle of Tunisia. And there's an advantage being played here against Petone. And one of the Petone players, it looks like Ben Kershaw, crawling back into the 22. And the advantage has come to an end.
Was that for a high tackle? I'm not sure. No, offside again.
Offside again. That's the third time. And
I think he was a player that gave away the last penalty, being offside.
And so another shot at goal here by the Avalon Wolves. And Jack Sargentine is going to have a discussion with Petone now. You'd think that'd be an area they would have tidied up after last Saturday.
You can only hope.
Last year in this fixture, it was 52 points to 19 to Petone at Fraser Park. They've been pretty high-scoring affairs since 2016. That was the last time Avalon won. Swindale Shield 8 points to 6. Played here at the Petone Rec. I think that might have been the year also that Avalon beat Marist St. Pat's. I think, Murray, that year too.
I'm not sure, but I do know when they first amalgamated as a club in 1980, they beat MSP once every couple of years, which in those days were big upsets. They had some very good sides through the 80s and 90s, actually, Avalon.
So Jordan Aquila with the penalty attempt. There's a change in kicker. Aquila off with his right boot. Gives it the old toe hack, but unfortunately it's drifted away, and it's going to be a 22-metre dropout. And while we're getting set up for that, Murray Blanford's just going to give us some score updates very soon from the other ground, from other matches around the grounds. So here it is, 12 points to 3 with roughly 5 minutes to go. And here we go. Here's Murray Blanford with some score updates.
Right. Yep, well, I've only got the 5 here at the moment. They're not filling up, so you better go back to the comment.
Right, here we go. Ezra Sione gets the ball from the 22-metre dropout. Decides to kick it over the top of Stanley Solomon, who slides, and this could work out pretty well here for Avalon. It's on the 5x5, and Solomon has to survey. He decides to kick the ball with a banana shape to it, and it bounces. A quick throw-in's happened by Avalon in the hands of Jacob Fifi. As the crowd gets excited, Mason Henry scrags him to ground. Solomon coming in to support, but has been pushed out of the way by Wong. Right with the ball. Wrestled onto the 10-metre mark. It's been turned over. Teddy Hearn trying to be a nuisance. And Petone have managed to secure the turnover. Logan Henry with the box kick. Chasing back after is Sione. Watches it bounce awkwardly. Solomon tries to push him out of the way. But excellent work there by Toby Oliver. And Oliver has been scragged to ground. Avalon secure the ball. As this mud continues to rip up here at the Petone Rec. Arms coming up from Petone for a turnover. Salui putting on a good tackle. Ball rolls back into the 22. Excellent work there by Tui Lekutu, who had to balance that ball extremely well. Henry passes it infield to TJ Clark. He decides to have a run, passes off to Lossie Filippo. Filippo puts on the afterburners, hits the dummy, offloads it, but he's gone into touch as the flagger Danny Cameron comes up. And so, well, we've got a bit of a break and play. Here we go.
So Norths and OBU are 10-all at this stage. MSP leading 10-5 over Oriental Rongotai. Wainui are only just down, 20-14 against Parramatta Plimerton on Parramatta Plimerton's Old Timers Day. We've got Poniki and Huddle Boys Marist 7-all as well. And Upper Hutt are leading Tawa 13-7. And there's no score for the Wellington Jayville game for some reason. But all very tight affairs on what's a wet day.
Wet weather rugby. And absorbs in some entertaining close score lines. With roughly about 2.5 minutes here, it's 12-3 to Petone, and Avalon putting on a strong fight as Bauer was trying to control the ball. He's lost it. It's gone to the hands of Kershaw. Hearn fends off one, kicks it through. No one home here for Avalon. Sione gets back just in time as Hearn follows up his own kick. Oh, he could be penalised there for falling off, but no, play on is the call from referee Sargentine. The kick comes from Avalon, and that will be into touch for the kicker, and it's going to be a Petone line out roughly about 12 metres outside the 22 eastern touch line.
We might need to get the floodlights on soon, Brad. It's not even half time and it's quite dark out there.
Well, it's very dark as these dark rain clouds descend over the ground. It was interesting last night too. It got pretty dark around 4:30 as well. So the weather keeping out the mating son. Here is Jack Ross. Secures it again, and Petone put the ball into quarantine and charge towards the 22, but Avalon is slowing them down as the colour of mud surveys around the Petone wreck. Good drive here as Petone doing very well. They need to keep it up as they risk it turning over, but they're doing well. Ross takes it down into the ground inside the 22. Still there for Henry. Henry decides to give it out to Filippo. Filippo has a run. Backs out of 2 tacklers. Brought down by the third. About 13 metres away from the line. Can Petone score just before the half? Sapai has a run. But it's been turned over. But it's a penalty directly in front of the posts. And with only 50 seconds left on the shot clock. But no, it's been knocked on, said referee Sargentina. And it's half-time. Well, that was a rather interesting end to the first half there, Murray. But I think 12-3 at half-time. I think Avalon will be pretty happy with where they're at.
Very happy, and with a bit of luck, they probably should have been 12-6 at the very least, and maybe even more, because they got close to scoring at one period of play. Petone won't be too dispirited at this point. They are ahead. They will have the wind with them in the second half. It's just going to be continually hard to move that ball, but be interested to see what happens. Petone are going inside, maybe for a change of jerseys or just a hot Milo, who knows, while Avalon are going to stay outside in the weather.
So at half-time, 12 points to 3. The home side Petone ahead of the gutsy Avalon Wolves. We'll be back in roughly about 5 minutes. Welcome back to the Petone Rec as half-time is about to come to a conclusion. 12-3 to Petone over the Avalon Wolves. And horrendous conditions here, and we're going to need to get someone down to Kennard High or something to get some floodlights because it's getting extremely dark here, Murray Blandford.
Well, the scoreboard is bright as, and unfortunately it's not going to give enough light. Just thought I'd give a shout out to any Petone supporter out there watching, or Avalon supporter watching this coverage. And our president, Petone President Gary Lewis, would like to give a shout out to Greg Boyle, apparently the president of the North Live-In Rugby Union. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So 12 points to 3 here, and Avalon have stayed out for the whole half time. Petone and the referees are yet to come out of the changing rooms. So Avalon will be pretty pleased with that first half performance. They probably should have had potentially a try and a penalty to narrow that scoreline, but they definitely were extremely gutsy.
They were. They played very structured, organised rugby, and probably looking at their coaching lineup, you can understand why.
Well, here they come, the officials and Petone. I don't think Danny Cameron's got a jacket because he's the assistant referee is still standing out there, and look at him, he's frozen.
He's absolutely frozen.
Frozen. He might get hypothermia. Someone get him a jacket.
I see there's a referee on the sideline. He's not giving up his.
Oh, no. Poor old Danny Cameron. As the second half is about to get underway, and this time it'll be Petone playing towards the northern end of the mud-soaked Petone Rec.
Danny can come back with the referees after the game to the rugby club. Enjoy beef and bean burritos that the club are putting on for everyone.
Oh, that sounds terrific. As players back underway. And Avalon secure the ball inside their own 22. Have been slammed to ground inside their own 22. Misa passes it centre field. And Petone, well, unfortunately, that time there, Ferreira knocked the ball on. And Petone playing under advantage. What can they do here now with playing with a little wind? Salui had a juggle and lost control of it, but there was the original advantage against Avalon for the knock-on, and so it'll be a Petone scrum, roughly 2 metres outside Avalon's 22 on the eastern side.
I think we're going to see a fair bit of that this half.
Yeah. Well, the conditions just keep deteriorating here. It's interesting looking down at the southern end goal there, Murray. There's the lonely sight of Yona Apanero warming up in the end goal. It's good to see him back playing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He came off the bench against Upper Hutt last week, and the Jubilee Cup final last year, he injured his leg, which ruled him out of the NPC for the Wellington Lions. And there were question marks whether or not he'll be able to play for Petone this year, but he's made a speedy recovery, which has been good news for Petone. Last week they put him on the flank instead of the front row. Here they go. Henry kicks it through. Solomon chasing after it. Has he got enough pace?
I'd hope so.
He claims it, and
Certainly
Jack Sargentina does as well. He kicks it through. Solomon chasing after it. Has he got enough pace?
I'd hope so.
Excellent work there from Stanley Solomon. His second try of the match.
Perfectly weighted grubber kick through by Logan too.
And
he's got wheels. He's an excitement machine.
Well, you can see why he was in the New Zealand secondary schools last year, and also was part of the Wellington Academy. Now's gone over to score his 10th try for Petone. Extend the lead out to 17 points to 3.
Be interesting to see if he gets a run at first five at any stage today. After all, that's his position. Mind you, he certainly doesn't look out of place on the wing.
No, he certainly doesn't, Murray. The conversion attempt from Khan Green is unsuccessful. Pretty close, though, and the score remains 17 points to 3. Of course, when Khan Green this season has been substituted, it's been TJ Clark that's moved into that fly half position, and Solomon down to fullback. So we'll see what happens today if Khan Green comes off. Danny Cameron is still looking like he needs a Milo or something. There's not much movement in his shoulders. He's hunched over and frozen as Avalon get the restart back underway, and it's been picked up well by Tornesi, and he will slide towards halfway.
Nice blind side.
And Solomon manages to offload it, but the flag of Mike Fraser comes up as he put his foot on the line before he offloaded it. So it's going to be an Avalon Wolves line out. And now this wind has picked up in its intensity, and it's almost coming in on a side angle now, this rain.
Well, when you look at Mike Fraser's flag, you can see how windy it is. Great going down the blind side there. Hopefully that'll happen a lot more this half.
And the line out not straight that time as the wind managed to throw the ball away from its direction. And so it's going to be a Petone scrum, 15 metres in from the eastern touch line, roughly about 4 metres inside Avalon's half.
TJ Clark also shaking and shivering and trying to keep some warmth in his hands.
Well, when it is these terrible weather conditions, sometimes it's colder than Dublin. Even Brian O'Driscoll said that game in 2008 against the All Blacks at Sky Stadium was one of the coldest test matches he's ever played on. Strong scrum here, and Logan Henry fires it out to Green. Green finds Solomon, who passes out to Clark. He's got Filippo if he needs him. He passes it off to Filippo, and Avalon swarm around them. He knocks the ball backwards, so it's still there for Petone. Tornesi wrapped up by the Avalon defenders, and they're looking to hold him up as the knee hits the ground.
I'd say it was a maul before that.
I think so, and it's been turned over. An excellent defence there by Avalon, but there's a penalty. And this, I think, must have come from the sideline because there was an errant hand in there, Murray.
Never saw it.
So, Petone have the penalty. And Khan Green discusses with his forwards, and they're going to kick this ball into touch. And it'll be a line out on the 5x5, the northern end grandstand touch line.
Good to see Sam Tanisi get a start today. He's an outstanding player. Not normally lock, but he can play anywhere.
Product of Hutt Valley High School. Secured again by Jack Ross.
Back to Sam Tanisi.
And here they go at the back. There's Luke Flett hanging on. He decides to go as Avalon push the rest of the ball sideways. They're only 3 metres away from the line. Ross lunges forward. He'll be short. Secured by Petone. Avalon defending extremely well here in trying conditions. Petone lunge over. Have they got the ball down? Referee Sargentina says no, so it's still there for Petone on attack. The pick and go. It's a try. It's been awarded.
Oh.
And it's
Sam Tanisi.
Sam Tanisi scoring his second try for Petone.
And that's the bonus point try for Petone.
And that extends the lead out for the home side to 22 points to 3 with the conversion to come. So good patient build up there. That was probably something in the first half, Murray, that Petone, when they did try and set up a maul, they were often probably guilty of making a mistake or allowing Avalon to shut them down. But that time there, it worked pretty well. Yeah,
they were very close a couple of times, so probably deserved that in the end. Khan now taking the conversion. He's kicked today. His timing of the ball has been outstanding.
24 points to 3 is the score. Petone extending their lead out over Avalon. In conditions that are just grim. Down the northern end on the eastern touchline is Hugh Pretorius, who is always around Avalon fixtures taking photographs. He's standing out there in shorts and a light jacket. The rest of us all wrapped up here wearing jerseys and beanies. Here we go. Avalon go for the short again. Riley Higgins has to slide on his backside to secure the ball as he leaves a trail behind him. It's a low pass out to Khan Green. He manages to bend down and grab it. Kicks it down towards Ezra Sione and it bounced wildly into the 22. And it'll be Aquila racing back after it. He's got Mason Henry in front of him. He finds Sione. And Sione passes it in field. And Petone bring him down 2 metres short of the 22. Good build up here from Avalon again. And Petone looked to slow them down. They've still got the ball here, Avalon. Excellent work. 2 away from the 22. Slow going, wrestled. And Avalon this time, they had the wind behind them in the first half. They've got to play into it now, and the wind has actually picked up on its intensity. But they're keeping it tight within the forwards. A very good structured game plan here by Avalon. And they're really just going on the pick and goes. But unfortunately, they've made a mistake that time, Bow, knocking the ball on.
Just looked up at the Petone players going to. Very effective again from Petone getting out, just using that kick. Simple, low risk, and they made 70 metres, 80 metres.
So as we set up this scrum with roughly about 8 minutes gone in the second half, let's have a look at some of the scores after half-time in the other fixtures.
So Norths are down 13-20 to OBU. Oriental Rongotai are down 5-20 to MSP, making a bit of a comeback from last week's result. Wainui are down to Parramatta Plimerton 32-14. And Poniki are actually losing now to Huddle Boys Marist 14-7 on their Old Timers Day. Upper Hutt Rams are beating Tawa 13-12 in a very tight one. And Wellington, I don't have the score, but Wellington were losing at halftime to Johnsonville.
A kick through from Logan Henry. Couldn't quite latch on to Solomon, so it's going to be a goal line dropout here for the Avalon Wolves. And Petone are going to make 4 changes very soon. And we'll get to those soon as the goal line dropout commences for Avalon. They kick it down towards Khan Green. It bounces into the pile of mud. Filippo decides to have a run with those dancing blue suede shoes. And he'll be brought down 7 metres away from the eastern touchline, and a penalty.
Sealing off.
Sailing off. That time Mason Henry caught.
Don't think the ball was anywhere near, actually. I think Lossie had actually put it well behind him, but the Johnsonville score is 33-15 to Johnsonville over Wellington. Wellington at home.
So 4 substitutions for Petone. Jersey 18, Yona Apaneru. Jersey 16, Ryan Emery. Jersey 21, Cam Ferreira. And a debut for Jono Bailey. He's a product of Hutt International Boys School. He actually played the early part of the season for Hutt Boys Marist. He played 15 games there, making his debut in 2020. And after the few opening rounds, he's made the move out to Petone Rec to play for the Villagers. And so he's making his debut this afternoon. Knock on here against Avalon from the line out.
He did a bit of refereeing too, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Yeah.
Bit of refereeing as well. I think he won one of the Junior Official Awards at the Hutt City Sports Awards.
Yeah.
So I've got a feeling of next Thursday, I think, aren't they, Murray? I think they're not too far away. Always a relatively good night, that one.
Well, they say it's the best one and one of the best ones in New Zealand, apparently. They certainly are impressive events.
So Cam Ferreira, the halfback, Logan Henry, has been replaced. Still the same rest of the back line for Petone. Ferreira secures it out to Khan Green, who passes it out to Taylor. Henry takes it into contact on the 10-metre mark. Ferreira reaches in. And Avalon swarm around there. Good tackle there that time by Masima. It's a juggling at Tornesi. Couldn't hang on, and it's been picked up by Awong. And so Avalon have the ball in possession, and they pick and go towards halfway. There's good effort here by the Avalon Wolves. Tony putting on solid defence and pushing Avalon back roughly about 3 metres. Wrestled to ground that time there by John O'Bailey. And Petone tried to counteract through, but Avalon managed to secure the ball. It's a loose ball, and it's been knocked on by Petone going into contact.
Yeah, it was ripped, I think, by the Petone player and went forward.
Well, got some other first 15 scores here for you. Scots have beaten Mana College 87 points to 5, and Hutt International Boys School have beaten St Bernard's 8-0. Those are the other first 15 scores that have come through. Surprisingly low scoreline. That one, Hutt International and St Bernard's, they were playing at the NZCIS on a pretty fancy turf.
Very fancy turf. Hibs are always very organised. Small, but very, very organised. Play structured rugby. I've seen a couple of MSP ladies here from the MSP team. I wonder if perhaps they're coming out to
do the presentation out here.
Yeah, maybe.
For the Rebecca Luiana Trophy, the first round. So they might be using the club rooms this afternoon for the this evening for the presentation. Here we go. Avalon at the back, secured, and Petone look to push them back, but they've wrestled over halfway. Good fighting spirit here by the Wolves, and they've got themselves a penalty. No clear release is the call from referee Sargentina.
And of course, Rebecca is now a vice president of the Wellington Rugby Football Union. Hopefully she was there to present it to one of the sides at the conclusion of the match.
Yeah.
Both were being played close, one at Norths and one at Parramatta Plymouton.
Well, Solomon tried to throw the ball back in, but his foot had landed on the ground before the ball had left his hands, and the flag of Mike Fraser comes up. So it's going to be a line out here for Avalon. Metre inside Petone's 22, eastern touchline. Jacob Fife made his debut 2019 against Wainui. Also played for Hutt for 2 games.
Good line out.
Here they go, charging forward through right. They haven't been down here for most of the second half. What can they do now, the Avalon Wolves? Can they get their forwards pick and going well? At the back with Misa. A good rumble forward. And they stretch it out wide to the backs, and a good off tackle pass there by Toape, but unfortunately couldn't find the player and has gone into touch. And so Petone will have the line. They've gone for the quick throw-in, and the assistant referee, Mike Fraser, has allowed it. The kick from Petone has been kicked downfield towards the 22. No one was home. Getting back in time is Sione. He passed it outfield to his captain, Aquila. And the kick's been charged down by Petone, but it's been picked up well that time there by Tui Lekutu. But knocked on as the sliding nature of Petone Recreation Ground number 1 starts to rip up. Jersey 20 is about to come onto the field. That is Leighton Tupper.
Scored a couple of very good tries for the Prem Reserves in the first half before he was taken off the field.
And it's Khan Green who has been substituted roughly around that time.
Stanley going into first 5.
Well, here we go. The crowd, I think, applaud Khan Green, but Murray Blandford gets his wish. As we get to see what Solomon can do at first 5. This is where he played his secondary school rugby for Wellington College.
Khan's had a fantastic 56 minutes. I think he's kicked really, really well, not just for goal, but also tactically, and he's a really good communicator, which is a huge benefit.
Solid scrum for Petone. Ferreira reaches in as Avalon try to twist it around. Here's Solomon with the ball now at first receiver. Out to Filippo. Filippo has a juggle, goes, gives it out to TJ Clark, who's got Leighton Tupper out to his right. Will he need him? No, he won't. TJ Clark glides through and scores a great try for Petone.
He needed to be...
Will he need him? No, he won't. TJ Clark glides through and scores a great...
These conditions, the pass could have gone forward or could have been knocked on. It's also meant the conversion's a lot handier to the post than it would have been. And Stanley's taken the kick, which is interesting. I would have thought TJ might have.
So 29 points to 3 is the score. Solomon to take the conversion. 10 tries this season. This will be his first points at the posts for the Premier side. And easy as you like for Solomon. So 31 points to 3 is the score. As Petone race out to a big lead. Roughly nearly halfway through the second half.
It was very well executed and, you know, low risk move. Lossie's speed was critical, but again, that's what he's able to do.
So, water bottles been sprayed into the eyes of the Avalon players as the difficulties when the field rips up, as the mud getting into your eyes. Victor Misa with the ball, gets play back underway. Tornesi can't hang on to that, and it's knocked the ball on. So advantage being played here for the Avalon Wolves. Knocked on that time by Avalon, but they will come back for the original infringement. So it'll be a scrum here for Avalon, roughly 12 metres inside Petone's territory. And Ryan Emery is coming onto the field. He's started every game this season for Petone. This is his first one off the bench, and he'll be replacing, by the looks of it, Luke Flett. Ryan Emery's had a good season, Murray. He's
very good season.
He's 7 starts and 8 tries in his career.
Outstanding club man, and he's done really well this year. He's over 50 games, isn't he? I think he had his 50th game
last year.
Last year.
Yeah, 62nd game today.
62nd, yeah.
Also, jersey 22, Lester Mololo has come onto the field as well.
I think that must be all of them on, is it?
I believe that must be
4, 5.
Cleared bench. And that's Taylor Henry who has been replaced. Petone put a big shunt on the balls. Looked like it had been knocked on in the back, but there's a penalty as Petone were coming around. A penalty against Petone at scrum time. And while Avalon set this kick up to be kicked in touch, Murray's just loading his phone, and we'll get some score updates from around the grounds in the mid part of the second half.
Yeah, well, it's becoming the business part of the games, so it'll be interesting to see what's happening. It's always nice to know who's got the wind and things like that, because that can be quite significant, but unfortunately the results don't tell us that. So let's find the Premier. Norths and OBU are locked up at 20 all.
Oh, wow.
Ori's now down 10-27 to MSP, so it looks like MSP are looking pretty good. That's Ori's home game too. Parramatta Plymouton now have streaked ahead of Wainui 44-14, which is what's happened a lot with Wainui recently. They've been close and then blown out near the end. It's 14 all at Poniki between them and Hutt Boys Marist. Upper Hutt are 1 point up on Tawa, and that Wellington game is not on that app, but it might be on this one. And in fact, it is. Wellington are losing 15-45 to Johnsonville.
Messy line out, ball kicked through by Petone. Avalon have slid into touch, and so it's going to be a line out for Petone just outside their own 22, eastern touch line. 31 points to 3 here, less than 20 minutes to go in the second half. Petone in control, earning themselves the bonus point. Tornesi can't hang on to the ball as more butter has been applied to his fingers. And here goes Avalon, and they've got numbers to burn. Can they score here? Oh, he couldn't hang on. And Petone, there was a certain try there for Avalon. If they could have got it out one more way. Stolliman's kick bounces, goes over the top of Sione, who slides and gets off to his knees. In the hands of Fai. Advances towards halfway. Ball's popped out. Emery came around to get it, but Avalon managed to get the ball in time as the crowd builds in excitement. As here goes Avalon through Puda. Secured by Bauer. Aquila, I mean. Into the hands of Ferreira. And Wright runs straight into Bailey and Emery. So fire in the bellies coming in now for Avalon as advantage being played for a high tackle. Right again, slams into Bailey. Slow build up here for Avalon. Sione with the ball. He's got Oliver beside him if he needs it. The ball's out. Still playing under advantage. Tuilekutu rolls. John O'Bailey's really made quite a few number of tackles. A short space of time for Petone in this passenger phase. Here goes Fifi. Another advantage being played here against Petone. Avalon building nicely. Good tackle there by Kershaw. Fifi there for support if needed. Ferreira decides to have a go. He's been pushed back and slammed to ground 7 metres away. Good patient build up here by the Wolves. Can they get their first try? They pick and go out to the left, right. Ball comes loose. It's a wide pass from Bauer. It's been picked up well by Sione. And he runs into Filippo. Ball's loose. They dart again, right. Only a metre away from the line. A lunge. Can they get over the line? Fifi lunges over. He's just short of the chalk. And there's a lunge at the ball, but not to avail. Right goes to the padding. Has he got the ball down? Sargentina says, no, there it is.
It's a try.
It's a try. And it looks like it's going to be Bauer that will go over and score. Avalon's first try, and that's just reward for Avalon. They've toiled hard all afternoon. Good structured game plan, Murray. And they come away with a try.
They fully deserve that. They should have actually scored that movement before when the pass went behind the player, 3-on-1 basically, and I think it was the captain, unfortunately, who threw it behind. Jacob Fifi has been really impressive, and he was only a centimetre or two away from putting it over the white line there before it went out, and it was finally scored. But no, fully deserved. 31-8 now. Conversion's over, so that's 31-10. I still think probably too far to come back, but they've been very impressive, Avalon, today. Very impressive.
Victor Meese's conversion successful. Narrows the margin for Avalon. Score update from another first 15 game. Rongotai College have beaten Tawa College 36-10. And one of the Avalon players that's worked hard all afternoon has been substituted, and that is Phil Green. He made his debut back in 2018 against Tapa Hut. His 43rd game. Restart. Well, it might just have a bit too much on it. It lands just right in the corner of the dead ball. Oh, that's close. Higgins claiming a try. The officials have said play on. Well, that nearly caught everyone napping on that occasion. And Avalon
turned out to be a very good kick-off.
So Avalon under pressure, 5 away from their own line. Petone looking to hold them up. Have they turned it over?
No.
No, Avalon have got it. And they have to fight their way out from their own, outside their own goal line, directly in front of the posts. Avalon with the ball. Petone contest. Oh, it's a high pass, so there's only just been picked up well. Cries of a high tackle come out, and the advantage has been played. And it was an early tackle, I think, that time there from referee Sargentina. So a penalty here for Avalon. Roughly less than 15 minutes to go in this match. Looks like some nappy sand's going to have to be applied tonight for cleaning all these uniforms.
Oh, not in touch.
Well, it's a bit of a dead pigeon, a kick. And here goes Solomon. Kicks through. There's no one home there for Avalon. Who's got the pace? Will they get there? Leighton Tupper's chasing after it. Avalon get back just in time. And so it's going to be a goal line dropout.
$14 minutes to go. It's not getting any drier or warmer.
Oh no, and of course the light is still not flash either. Still pretty dark as Aquila's kick goes for the short option this time into the hands of Henry, who can't control the ball. And Avalon have got it back. Aquila passes in field. And it's a loose ball. It's scrappy, and it's been knocked on by Avalon. And this will be a scrum for Petone centre field. About 6 inside Avalon's 22.
Perfect attacking position. Go either way. Be interested to see what Petone do. Well,
they've used all their bench, Petone. But we'll be able to get to see their fly half in action here, Stanley Solomon, how they're setting up this backline, Murray. Looks, well...
I'd like to see them go right, but we'll see.
Well, someone's upset the Seagulls if they're flowing over the number 1. They're already muddy. We don't need something else on the jerseys. Here we go. Scrum finally coming together.
Yep.
Here they go. Here's a great pass from Ferreira out to Higgins. Higgins brought down. It's a loose ball. Chasing back after it is Tupper. Slides, offloads it back in, but unfortunately, his backside slid over the touchline. And so it'll be a line out for Avalon.
That was an outstanding tackle by the Avalon player then to stop Riley Higgins. Basically, you looked at an open ground with 5 metres to go. It was quite a magnificent effort. Very well done.
So a tricky line out here for Jacob Fife. Only 6 away from their line, on the eastern touch line. The Seagulls have disappeared now. That's good news for everyone.
Well, they've settled down on the number 4.
Secure line out, drifted out for Avalon. 5 out from their own line. Been pinned down here for nearly the last 5 minutes, Avalon. That's a good drive there by them that time. Head out the short side. It's good at kicking the ball through. This time the kick, not what they planned to be. And Solomon passes in field to TJ Clark. Clark, he's got numbers out to his left. Filippo's ripped off the headgear. And he passes it out to Tupper. This is electric play. Here's Higgins. Avalon swarm around him quickly, trying to slow down his advance. Ferreira, high pass out to Bailey. Bailey dragged down 7 metres short of the line. Higgins again wrapped up by Fife.
Right.
Play on is the call from the officials. Oh, yeah. Filippo slams into a charging Ben Kershaw.
Marcus Royal.
Oh, Marcus Royal, I mean. And that ball popped out like a prescription pill. And Avalon enjoy the ball. Some Avalon players starting to feel the effects of this hard tour game. Ball's been stripped out. And Filippo has the ball, does he? No, well...
Go back to the knock-on.
We'll go back to the original knock-on. Just getting a little bit scrappy there in that passages of play there, Murray. And, well, we wait for the scrum to be set up. Murray's just going to give us some score updates in the approaching the last 10 minutes of the round 8 of the Swindale Shield.
Right. Let's go to... So, OBU have taken the lead against Norths. It was 20-all. It's now 27-20. Oriental Rongotai have come back. They're still down, though, 17-27 to Marist St Pat's. Parramatta Plimerton are well clear of Wainui, 53-19. It's Hobham, Huddle Boys Marist, that are now 10 up on Poniki, 24-14. And North's, Tawa are 2 points ahead of the Upper Hutt Rams, which some teams might quite like that result.
So, no quick throw in for Petone. And so they'll come for the line out. As the ball may have been touched by an object outside the field of play.
And the final score that wasn't on that one is the Wellington game. And Wellington are now down 15-52 against Johnsonville.
So Ryan Emery with the ball. Finds Mason Henry at the front. And Petone look to secure this as they put the drive on. At the back. Not many numbers there for Petone as Avalon swarming to try and slow down the Petone advancements. At the back with Tunesi, has already got a try to his name. And he's going to be brought down 4-way from the line. Ferreira finds Sapaya. Gutsy defence from the Wolves as they try and stop another Petone advancement over the line. Ball's been knocked on as more mud coming off the hands of the Petone players. Results in a knock-on and a scrum for Avalon.
Forwards were tossing up who was going to take it, 2 of them. Neither did.
So, his last 8 minutes of this game. Really the fatigue of playing in these weather conditions starting the show. It's also the fact also it's pretty cold out there too, Murray.
It certainly is.
So Avalon with another scrum. This roughly about 7 metres outside their own try line at the northern end of Petone Recreational Ground. 31 points to 10 here.
Be very difficult to clear from here into that southerly, and it'll be interesting to see what they choose to do.
Score was 12-3 at half-time to the home side, Petone. Jack Sargentine, another reset scrum, changing side. So, I think the groundsman's going to have a bit of work to do on this field in the lead up to the next home game, Murray. We've got Wainui Mata here next Saturday.
Wellington, isn't it?
Oh, it might be, actually, yeah.
I think it might be Wellington and then Wainui, I think.
Yeah.
I think, but I'm not certain on that.
A lot of work will be needed onto this field for the next home game. Here goes Avalon. They decide to have a run out of their own try line, and they're going to be brought down just a metre short of the 22.
How dare I question you? It is Wainui.
Oh, there we go. Misa passes it out to Whaiwhai. Whaiwhai's been wrapped up by the Petone defenders. Misa again surveys and gives it out. It's been charged down by Bailey, and Misa gets back just in time. And Avalon with the ball look to secure it and run it out. Filippo's there to slow down the advancement, and it's a penalty here against Avalon for a player coming off their feet. It's being tapped quickly by Solomon. He kicks it through, but it probably hasn't gone out the way he wanted. Did TJ Clark get there in time? No, he didn't, so it's going to be a goal line dropout. They're down there. I think Solomon didn't get the kick that right. I think he was hoping it would curve the other way, but didn't work out that time, as there's an Avalon player just down in the 22. In fact, we haven't had many stoppages for injuries in this match, Murray.
No.
It's Jacob Whaiwhai, who's now back onto his feet, being assisted by medic Tom Paget. Oh, that's a bit of a shank. Has it worked out? No, it hasn't. And Petone have got the ball. Marcus Royal rolling his way through towards the line. Is he going to get over? He has. Marcus Royal scores for Petone. And the score now, 36 points to 10.
That was an outstanding effort by Marcus. He just kept going. In his first game for, what, 3 years probably?
It's about that, 3 years, yep. He made his debut in 2015 against Oriental Rongotai. And he's a product of St. Pat Silverstream. He hasn't played for about the last 3 seasons, but he's back out there this afternoon, helping out the front row department. That really, there's quite a few injuries in that area of the forwards for Petone this season. Still got a lot of players to come back, though.
Yeah, tight five, the locks as well.
Yeah. So Solomon with the conversion attempt.
Danny Cameron, the AR, hiding behind the pads.
I think he's trying to hide away from Jack Sargentini. You can't hide away, Daddy. Maybe invest in a jacket and some woolens. Solomon from the 15-metre mark curves straight down the middle to make that 38 points to 10. Stanley Solomon, 14 points to his name this afternoon. And with only minutes remaining in the match, it's now 36 points to 10 to Petone over Avalon. And these closing stages, there's some big games and some big scores. It's all happening in round 8 of the Swindale Shield here. Petone comfortably ahead. They've been scragged to ground midfield on their 10-metre mark. Pass from Ferreira Solomon, skips out to TJ Clark, out to Filippo, but it's bounced off his left arm and rolled into touch. And so it's going to be a line out here for Avalon. Roughly about 13 metres inside Petone's half. They decided to go for the scrum because there was the knock-on before the ball rolled into touch, so options could be applied.
Just go through some scores. Johnsonville are still beating Wellington 52-15. OBU beating Northern United 34-23. Marist St Pat's 27, Oriental Rongotai 19, Wainui 19, and Parramatta Plimerton 60. They'll be enjoying their after matches at the Old Timers' Day. Huddle Boys Marist are now 10 points ahead of Poniki, just as the Petone scrum demolishes the Avalon scrum. And Upper Hutt are back in front over Tawa, 20-15.
Well, exciting games all around. The mark wasn't taken, but actually I think more so for the player welfare. Referee Sargentina stopped play there just to tick on one of the Avalon forwards after their scrum was rolled over the top by Petone. And referee Sargentina just taking his time. I think that's probably a good decision there because it was a big, powerful shunt by Petone just to check the welfare of the Avalon players. And here we go. The ball's been kicked into touch by Solomon. It's going to be a line out here for Petone on the 10-metre mark directly in front of the grandstand. And with roughly about a minute and 15 minutes to go, Petone will be looking to try and crack 40 here, Murray.
They will. I think it's a bit... The 38-10 is a little bit of a generous score for Petone. I think they've played very well, but it take nothing away from an Avalon side that for virtually the whole game has competed, you know, as well as they've been able to.
Well, it was locked on there at line-out time for Petone, so it's going to be an Avalon scrum. Wishing they probably don't want to have the scrum here, Murray, but they got the scrum on the 15-metre mark, 10 inside their own half. So, in trying conditions, though, I think Petone will be happy to take away the points, but still plenty to work on for them.
Yeah. Oh, far better discipline than last week, and better exit plays and everything, really.
Another reset scrum as players just lose their footing. Seconds remaining in this match. Be interesting, the top 4 and 5 positions after this game.
It will be.
It'll be very interesting whether or not Petone sneak into the top 4. It could be rather interesting. Upper Hutt, if they can hold out Tower, can they stay top? If not, Parramatta Plimerton will go top of the charts. So it's all topsy-turvy on the Swindale Shield for 2023.
And Petone still to play Parramatta Plimerton out there.
Out there, I think that's the last round, I think, from memory. Is it, Murray, I think? It was second to last, yeah. Another big scrum from Petone, but Avalon have got the ball just in time before the impending penalty could possibly come. Reaching in is Maruvu, but there's a penalty here against...
John O'Bailey got that one, turnover. Very good turnover.
Holding on is the call. And there's an Avalon player down on the ground, not looking too well here. He was the player that was penalised for not...
He did very well, though. That scrum was going back at a rate of knots, and he managed to get through it.
Well, a call from Tom Paget, the medic, was for the talking symbol, which I think was just for a water bottle to get some water, some mud out of his eye. I think that's why he was lying on the ground, because he couldn't see. Petone have elected to continue play. They'll kick this ball into touch, and it will be a line out just outside Avalon's 22. Time up on the clock. Emery's throw has gone astray, and referee Sargentina has blown it up, and that will be full time here at the Petone Recreational Ground. And Petone have secured a good win against Avalon in a trying game with weather and all. But I think Avalon, though, even though they have lost 38 points to 10, will be pretty pleased with how they stayed in the fight, and structurally they were sound.
I agree. I thought they acquitted themselves really well, and Petone will be pleased to get back in the saddle, so to speak, with Wainui and Wellington to come in the next 2 weeks. And as you say, it'll be very interesting to see when all the games are finished where everyone's on the table. So
Petone with the W. They beat Avalon 38 points to 10. Next Saturday at home against Wainui for the Darren Larson Cup. That's always a dogfight of a match, that one. And then 2 weeks later, the Wellington Axemen before McBain at the Hut Wreck. And Petone, we're looking to secure up bonus point wins for the next 2 weekends. It's been a pleasure bringing you this game and trying in cold conditions here at the Petone Wreck. Many thanks to Murray Blandford for joining the broadcast again, and to our cameraman, Ben Malushnik, who had to run down from playing for the second 15 at St Bernard's to come and play here. And he's done a sterling job behind the lens. So it's been a real pleasure bringing you this game this afternoon. We'll see you next Saturday for Petone versus Wainui. I'm Brad Hudson. Ciao for now.